Liberal-leaning justices now control the court after Janet Protasewicz was sworn in on Tuesday. She won the seat back in April, defeating former Justice Dan Kelly. And the day after Protasewicz took the oath, a coalition of voting rights groups asked the state Supreme Court to throw out Wisconsin's legislative maps. They claim the Republican-drawn political boundaries are rigged to benefit GOP candidates. Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu said the maps are valid and constitutional, and he said the Senate will defend them. And on their second day as majority on the court, the 4 liberal justices voted to oust the director of the state's court system. Randy Koschnick held the job for 6 years. The court then appointed Judge Audrey Chergosky in the interim. The conservative chief justice of the court, Annette Ziegler, accused her colleagues of a, quote, raw exercise of overreaching power. Senate Majority Leader LeMahieu has also said that Chergosky's appointment was unlawful per the state's constitution. To break down a big week in national and Wisconsin politics, I'm joined now by UW-La Crosse political science professor Anthony Chergosky. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
A coalition of groups filed a lawsuit asking the state Supreme Court to throw out the Wisconsin's legislative district maps within the last week. Justice Janet Protasewicz was outspoken about her opposition to conservative redistricting in her campaign, and Republicans have questioned the timing of this suit. So, Anthony, one day after Protasewicz's investiture, this lawsuit is filed. Are we seeing liberal groups coming to collect from Protasewicz here, or is this something just to expect when a court flips control like this?
I think it's very much expected because Democrats have for a long time had their eyes on redrawing these district maps. If we think back a decade plus, the Republicans were able to redraw district maps after they received full control, after they gained full control of the Wisconsin state government in 2010. And those maps have remained largely in place since then. That means that Republicans have a significant advantage, in part due to the way that the maps are drawn. It really helps them not just win the majority in the Wisconsin state legislature, it helps them get an overwhelming majority, even bordering on that 2/3 veto-proof majority that they had sought in the 2022 election cycle. Now, during the campaign for Wisconsin State Supreme Court, Janet Protasewicz had referred to the maps as rigged. It is absolutely no surprise that Democrats and other groups are seizing this opportunity to perhaps get something that they have long wanted, a different set of maps for the Wisconsin legislative districts. Now, a lot to be determined about the pace that this lawsuit is going to proceed at, a lot to be determined about how exactly this lawsuit is going to go. But the first step is underway. It has been long expected with the liberal majority now on the state Supreme Court.
Well, Republicans criticizing things that Democrats do, that's pretty common. We see that every day. But we are seeing right away some partisan infighting on this court following the 4 liberal justices' vote to fire court system director Randy Koschnick. Conservative justices are blasting this move. Do you think it was unprecedented, as Chief Justice Annette Ziegler has gone on record to say?
To me, Sarah, it just reflects the political conflict on the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. So we could point to this action as just being another chapter in a long story of deep divides on the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. And there was no question that when the majority control flipped from conservative to liberal, that there would be some new flashpoints in the conflict on the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. After all, Wisconsin is a deeply divided state politically, and in many ways, those divisions in the state are reflected in the divisions on the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. So I'm not sure exactly how I would characterize this decision, but I would simply say that it is reflective of the broader political conflict that we see in Wisconsin. And the state Supreme Courts are by no means immune from that political conflict. The Wisconsin State Supreme Court has had issues with collegiality. There has been infighting among the justices. In many ways, this is a different issue than we've seen before, but it's nothing new in the sense that it is yet more political conflict on the court.
Let's move on now to the indictment of former President Trump and Wisconsin's role in that. A lot of the indictment deals with the fake elector schemes in 7 states, including ours. What does this say to you about Wisconsin's role in politics on a national level?
Wisconsin continues to play a pivotal role in presidential politics. When we're looking ahead to the 2024 presidential election, Wisconsin is one of 4 to 6 states that will be decisive in determining the outcome of the upcoming presidential election. That means there will be significant legal battles over presidential elections in Wisconsin. I mean, that's what makes the change in majority control of the Wisconsin State Supreme Court so important, because as Wisconsin continues to play a pivotal role in national politics, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits surrounding election laws, surrounding voting procedures, and so forth. So to me, the indictment simply highlights the fact that Wisconsin is going to continue to be a focal point of presidential politics. After all, we've got that key first Republican debate coming up in Milwaukee later in August. And we've got the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. And then looking ahead to November 2024, it's quite possible that Wisconsin could decide the whole presidential election.
And as we wrap things up here, last question for you. Do you see a world where there's any sort of state investigation into Wisconsin's fake electors?
It's completely possible because we have seen that in other states. Now, Josh Kaul, the Wisconsin Attorney General, has been not committal. He has not committed to any type of investigation into the Wisconsin fake electors. At least publicly, we don't necessarily know what's going on behind the scenes. We do know that the fake elector scheme in general has been a major element of the storyline surrounding the 2020 election and the aftermath of the 2020 election. So it wouldn't surprise me to see some kind of action on the Wisconsin fake elector scheme, but right now there does seem to be uncertainty about what exactly might happen when it comes to Attorney General's Kaul's next decisions.
Well, Anthony Chergosky, thank you so much for the time this morning. Appreciate the expertise.
Thank you.